Hi, and welcome to Moments Gala for 2025. I'm Robert Siegel, and I'm delighted to be your host for this very special evening on which we're celebrating 50 years of Moment. It's exciting to see such a big crowd here tonight. Please. Thanks to all of you for joining us to celebrate Moment's work and also to celebrate tonight's inspiring honorees. We are pleased to welcome a few special guests to our gala tonight, whom I'd like to mention: the Ambassador of Austria, the Ambassador of Morocco, the Deputy Ambassador of Rwanda, the Public Diplomacy Counselor of Morocco, the head of Chancery at the Kenyan Embassy, the Deputy Press Counselor of the French Embassy, and our friend Tobias Bergner, who's head of the German Information Center. Other special guests are Congressman Jamie Raskin, who's on his way from the airport, former Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, former Secretary of Agriculture Dan Glickman, Ambassador Stuart Eisenstadt, and Rabbi Jonah Pessner, Director of the Religious Action Center of America. And of course, we'd like to recognize our board members who are here: Jody Blecker, Esther and Bert Foer, Phyllis Greenberger, Peter Lefkin, Andrew Mack, Elizabeth Scheuer, and Lenny Schuckman. Thanks to all of you for joining us this evening. And I'd like now to welcome Joan Nathan, who will lead us in the Motzi, and tonight's wonderful gala co-chair, Annie Tota, who will offer a few remarks as well. Joan?
You stay up with me.
Okay, I'll stay with you.
Okay. All right, can you all say the words together with me? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ashmutzi lechem min haaretz. And then, amen. You want to pull it. That's what we do at my house. And you take it to your table.
Hello, hello, hello. What a fabulous turnout. I think you all deserve a round of applause for being here. Everybody. Distinguished guests and honorees, members and supporters, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Annie Simonian Tota, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to Moments Magazine's 50th anniversary Golden Gala. And of course, I will be remiss if I don't say that one of the most favorite couples in the nation's capital is Wolf and Lynn Blitzer, who are the co-chair tonight. Where are you, Wolf? That side. Well, Wolf, Lynn, and I, we are so grateful that you are all here this evening to celebrate the magnificent work of Moment, as well as inspiring lineup of our fabulous honorees. I know that, or rather we know that it's going to be a great evening, because Moment is very fortunate to have so many loyal supporters as well as friends who make Moment's work possible. And we are thrilled that many of our former honorees continue their commitment with Moment, and many of them are here tonight, including Truly Yours. Moment was founded as a magazine 50 years ago, but it has become much more than a magazine. Today, it's a non-profit, multimedia organization of award-winning journalism, and it's independent journalism that's always ahead of the curve for editorial command. Through all of its platforms and projects, Moment magazine reaches nearly 2 million people annually. Isn't that fabulous? Let's give a round of applause to all the editor, Nadine Epstein, and all the staff who work so hard to make all these things fabulous. I'm always impressed by how Moment magazine shows the richness of thought in the Jewish world and provides a civil space where ideas can be debated and different opinions discussed. There's no question that during these troubled times, Moment's wise and thoughtful work is needed more than ever before, and I'm personally very proud to support it. Tonight, we want to recognize two very, very interesting and important guests, because their fathers, who are looking from above, are very proud that their children are continuing their legacy and have joined us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, where is the screen? To see the pictures of Jessica Fein, the daughter of Leonard Fein, as well as the son of Elie Wiesel, Elisha Wiesel.
"50 years ago, Elie Wiesel and Leibel Fein founded Moment in memory of Der Moment, the beloved Warsaw Yiddish daily silenced by the Nazis. They believed the Jewish story must never again be silenced, and that inquiry, imagination, and independent journalism would keep its light alive. As we mark this milestone, we return to our beginnings to remember these two visionaries.
We wanted something about Israel. We wanted something about American Jews. We wanted something about ideas. We wanted something about literature.
It remained what it was meant to be, a good Jewish magazine that appeals to the intellectual, to the committed Jew. It appeals to someone who wants to know more about Judaism, about Jewish life, about Jewish endeavors.
50 years later, Moment still carries our founder's vision forward, illuminating the complexity of Jewish thought. At this moment in history, Moment's mission has never been more urgent or more impactful. In an age of distortion and division, Moment stands as a beacon of clarity, defending truth, context, and the enduring power of ideas. Through it all, we remain committed to enriching Jewish life across generations. This is Elie and Leibel's legacy, and we are honored to carry it forward.
Hi. I hope you enjoyed that beautiful film, paying tribute to Elie and to Leibel. I am fortunate to have known both of them and to be able to continue the work that they started 50 years ago. Moment has been many things over its 5 decades, but it's more crucial to the American Jewish discourse than I ever could have imagined when I took over the magazine in 2004. It has emerged as a rare place in a starkly polarized media landscape. It's a place where American Jews and others can grapple with the heavy questions that are before us, informed by Jewish wisdom and history. Today, Moment is a beacon of sanity. We never pretend the world is simpler than it is. We ask the hard questions, and we tell the stories others overlook, whether they're on the right, the left, or beyond. We help shape the Jewish world today through our symposiums, our beloved Ask the Rabbi series, and our commitment to exploring Jewish arts and culture. We build bridges through innovative projects, such as the Wide River Project, which explores and expands the Black and Jewish relationship. We lead exciting conversations through Moment Live, our public affairs division, and through our Moment Institute. And in fact, tomorrow morning, you can all join us. You can get up early and join us at 11 a.m. for our inaugural Moment Institute Symposium, Divided We Fall, Anti-Semitism and Democracy in Crisis. It's going to be at the DC History Center at 11 a.m. You will meet Moment Institute Fellows Ira Foreman, Tom Jelton, Sharon Nazarian, and Eric K. Ward. And we will all be addressing this very complex issue. And now I want to introduce you to my colleague, our editor, Sarah Brieger.
Moment is a little engine that could. This year, Moment won a whopping 27 Rock Hour Awards from the American Jewish Press Association. We punch far above our weight. Media organizations with budgets 5 times the size of ours won far fewer awards, and year after year, it's the same. The caliber of our work speaks for itself. We've brought our brand new final print issue of 2025 hot off the press for you to take home later. In its deeply reported story, Tom Jelton, who's here tonight, exposes the virulent anti-Semitism driving Christian nationalism today. We also brought our beautiful fall issue and our fabulous 50th anniversary time capsule issue for you to enjoy as well. So we have a lot of reading on your way home. At Moment, we believe in the power of print, but we also believe in the power of digital. We publish stories online almost every day, and in our newsletters, we provide context to the constant rush of news in between issues. We have unique newsletters, such as Jewish Politics and Power, with astute observations of the Jewish world by Moment Institute fellow Natan Gutman, who is here tonight as well, over there. And features such as Be'ivrit, analysis of Israeli media across the political spectrum. Moment is multimedia in every sense: audio, video, graphic, sophisticated social media. We transform our work into easy-to-digest posts, slides, and video that reach diverse audiences. That's because our work is of great importance to Jews, but also to everyone. As Elie Wiesel once said, Moment is a very good Jewish magazine, which means it should not be read by Jews alone, but by everyone. Now I'll hand it back to Robert to present our first award of the evening.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Nadine. This year, we've conducted in-depth interviews with each of the awardees, and those interviews are posted on our website so that you can enjoy them. And it's now my pleasure to introduce our first award of the evening. It's a brand new award that is named in memory of Moment co-founder Leonard Leibel Fein. We are profoundly honored to present the Leibel Fein Tzedek Award to Rabbi David Saperstein, Director Emeritus of the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism, and also former United States Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom. David is a wise and inspiring leader who has spent his career courageously fighting against bigotry and championing religious freedom. His lifelong pursuit of justice, tzedek in Hebrew, exemplifies the values of Leibel Fein. Before David accepts his award, please turn your attention to the screen where we will see a special tribute to David from Chicago Governor JB Pritzker.
Hello, I'm Illinois Governor JB Pritzker. At this crossroads for America, the Jewish vision of social justice, championed by Moment's founders Elie Wiesel and Leibel Fein, is needed more urgently than ever. If we are to preserve our democracy, our constitutional republic, and our sense of justice, We must follow their example of courage and compassion. The smart, effective, and moral leadership embodied by their friend, Rabbi David Saperstein, deserves celebrating and emulating. What a great match. 50 years of Moment and 50 years of David's public service as a Jewish leader, Georgetown law professor, diplomat, and cherished rabbi in every sense of the word. For me, as for so many, David has been an inspiring teacher to my children and to me, a moral compass for us all in times of trial and tragedy, and a wise advisor in times of opportunity. I am proud to help honor Rabbi David Saperstein, a mensch, a friend, a leader.
Among my life's most cherished blessings was my 35-year friendship with Leibel Fein, a man whose literary elegance, verbal eloquence, profound Yiddishkeit, and moral courage established him as his generation's most influential social justice public intellectual. Among Leibel's myriad remarkable achievements, organizations like Mazon, Jewish Literacy Corps, decades of influential books and articles, and serving as a senior scholar at the Religious Action Center, where earlier his late beloved daughter, Nomi, had served. And I'm honored, Jesse, that you are here this evening as well. None of these accomplishments engage his heart more deeply than co-creating Moment magazine with Elie Wiesel and serving as its renowned editor. That I was also blessed to have worked with Elie Wiesel over many years in issues ranging from reversing the nuclear arms race to saving the people who are victims of genocide in Darfur. We were kindred spirits with a clear belief shared by Leibel that our particular Jewish concerns and our universal values were inexorably bound together. On this Jubilee year celebration, Nadine, as I indicated last year, were he and Leibel and Elie Wiesel here, and in some sense, they both are tonight, their hearts would overflow with gratitude for how you and your dedicated, terrific staff have shaped, driven, and enhanced their creation. So for me, as part of this 50th, to be acknowledged for the career with which I was blessed, a career marked by, as you heard, a range of activities, but mostly as a head of the Religious Action Center for decades, and continuing now in support of the remarkable Jonah Pesner, and the RAC's talented staff, Barbara Weinstein, Michael Namath, and the others, as they lift that institution to new heights precisely when it is needed more than ever. All of this has been the privilege of my life. And what extraordinary honorees with whom I share this evening. But what means the most with me is to be here with Ellen, a gifted journalist, my spouse, my life partner in every way, who along with my children make everything better and more fun and challenging every day. To be here with her, with cherished friends who are here, and with so many champions for social justice, and being introduced by my dear friend JB Pritzker, who has emerged not merely as one of the astonishing 12% of Jewish governors in America today, but as one of democracy's most courageous, effective, and powerful voices at this critical moment of constitutional peril. That before all of them, you honor me with the very first Leibel Fein Tzedek Award. Truly, Kosi Rivaya, my cup runneth over. And finally, this. Leibel and Ellie's hearts would be breaking at a time when democracy and civil rights are so threatened in the two countries they love most. To invoke the name of the magazine they created at this moment, at this very moment, our task is clear: to bring closer the day when America will finally live up to its embrace of democracy and justice for all. When the tide turns back towards freedom and human rights across the globe. When in Israel, living in safety and security will finally make real its Declaration of Independence promise of, quote, complete equality of social and political rights for all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. When for Palestinians, violence will be eschewed, the occupation will end, and their national aspirations given peaceful form and substance alongside Israel, and when our promised world of peace becomes the reality. For Ukraine, for Sudan, for Myanmar, for minorities in China, and when our Jewish community, Jewish synagogues, Jewish families, all so riven within over the tragedies of the past 2 years, indeed, may find healing and solace. That global vision of justice and peace was Leibel and Elie's legacy to us and to the world. It is Moment's truth-telling role to enhance, and may its achievement be the gift to all the generations yet to come from all of us. May that truly be the blessing of our lives. May that be the direction we turn the world to. I thank you for this honor in Leibel's name. I will always, always cherish it.
Our next award. We are thrilled to present Moments Mitchell and Gloria Levitas Literary Journalism Award to writer Letty Cottin Pogrebin. Letty is a co-founder of Ms. Magazine, the author of many books, and has been a Moment columnist for more than 30 years. Letty has been a voice for Jewish women, past and present, telling their stories and her own, chronicling a lifetime of feminism with honesty and humanity. She is a prolific and wonderful writer, very deserving of this award, which is named for the late New York Times book review editor Mike Levitas, and the brilliant Gloria Levitas, who writes for Moment to this day. So please turn your attention to the screen for a special tribute to Letty from actor Marlo Thomas.
Hi, everyone. Having known Letty Pogrebin since Richard Nixon was in the White House and a postage stamp cost 8 cents, I've come to the conclusion that to know Letty is really to know 3 Lettys. The first is the unstoppable writer who fills every page of her books and articles with a unique blend of scholarship and so much heart. And then there's Letty the activist, a potent little powerhouse who takes on causes with such wisdom and such fire that she's the very embodiment of Maya Angelou's famous quote, "If you don't like something, change it." And finally, there's Letty the wife and mom. Over more than 60 years, Letty, her dear late bird, and their magnificent kids, Abby, Robin, and David, forged a foundation of loyalty and support so deep and so lasting that it stands, I think, as her proudest legacy. Watching that family grow into what it is now, a big, beautiful caravan that includes 6 fabulous grandkids, has given all of us, I think, a precious peek into just what it means to live your life beneath the warm rays of unconditional love. And so I'm delighted that I've been asked by Moment Magazine to honor all 3 remarkable Lettys this evening. And I'm even prouder to shower all of my love on a 4th Letty, the one I'm blessed to call my friend. Congratulations, Letty Jo.
Nadine, you didn't warn me. You didn't warn me that Marlo was going to be speaking and that I would get lumps in my throat before I need my voice. So my voice is not very strong to begin with, but after an introduction like that, faced with such incredible and generous praise, most honorees would respond with humility. But I take my cue from Golda Meir, who said, Don't be humble. You're not that great. So, thanks for giving me a minute to collect myself. So instead, I'm going to share a couple of memories relevant to this much treasured award. I've been a magazine journalist since I was 10 years old. That's when my parents gave me something called a hectograph machine. Anybody remember a hectograph machine? Nobody's old enough. Which was not a machine at all, but a shallow rectangular tin containing a bed of firm gelatin. Think solid Jell-O. And it came with a bottle of very special purple ink. It was the next best thing to a printing press. I immediately set to work creating a magazine to which I was the sole contributor. My beat was my world. I wrote neighborhood news, editorials, profiles of my friends and family members, puzzles, and imaginary weather predictions. I also wrote letters to the editor, and I answered them. When I finished creating the first issue, I followed the enclosed instructions, placed the page face down on the hectograph's gelatin, and pressed, rolling it with the side of a drinking glass until the page was really flat, and pressed to the gel. And then I picked it up, and I had an image on the gel pad. So I took a blank piece of paper and pressed that to the gel and rolled the drinking glass over it, and I produced a perfect copy. And that's how I became a publisher. Thank you. One gel, and you had to remake it once you'd used it, produced 25 copies, and I quickly found 25 subscribers because I had a very large family. And I called it the Zip magazine. I have no idea why. I wish there was some meaning in it. I wish I can remember, because Zip, what? Not even political. I charged 3 cents a copy. Mind you, I was 10 in 1950. Newspapers cost 5 cents. I mailed it with a first-class stamp. When I was 10, a stamp cost 3 cents. She maybe remembers 8. Even then, it was hard for a magazine to make a profit. The hectograph is a fond childhood memory of mine. But 5 years later, at Jamaica High School in Queens, New York, I fell under the spell and the tutelage of the legendary journalism teacher Henry Shaw, who became the single greatest influence on my writing career. He taught me everything I know to this day about the craft of journalism: how to write a story that answers the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, and why; how to cover a meeting, a conference, conduct an interview, write a profile, a backgrounder, an obit, a caption, a headline; and most importantly for me, how to fashion one's opinions into a coherent column, and on a good day, make it read like literature. For the past 55 years, I have practiced what's called advocacy journalism. And for 35 of those years, Moment has given me a platform and protected my speech, along with the speech of writers who I really wish were not being published in the magazine, whose opinions do not match mine at all. But I value the fact that my page and theirs are kind of hip to hip, and that readers have a chance to hear us all. I'm grateful to our visionary publisher, Nadine Epstein, and to my esteemed preternaturally patient editor, Amy Schwartz. Yes, yes, yes. They're definitely deserving of applause, for giving me the freedom to speak, no matter how provocative, political, intimate, or passionate my voice. I'm grateful to Elie Wiesel and Leibel Fein for having had the chutzpah to found this magazine in the first place. And I'm most grateful tonight to Gloria Levitas and her dear late husband, Mike, for honoring me with this award. Since it contains the words literary and journalism in the same sentence, I know it would make Mr. Shaw proud. Thank you.
Our third award of the evening was established to honor Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her lifelong commitment to human rights and civil rights. This year's Ruth Bader Ginsburg Human Rights Award recipient is peace negotiator Alice Wairimu Nderitu. I hope I have that right. She is a global president of the Isoko Center for Humanity and former UN Undersecretary General and Special Advisor on the prevention of genocide. Alice has fearlessly pushed back against bigotry and worked to build bridges at a time when such bravery is harder than ever and more critical than ever. We are deeply honored to give her Moments Ruth Bader Ginsburg Human Rights Award. If you'll turn your attention to the screen, you'll see a special tribute from James Smith, co-founder of the Aegis Trust in the United Kingdom.
Choosing truth over silence takes rare moral strength, which is a character of Alice Nderitu, who sacrificed her career to resist anti-Semitism. From her role as UN Undersecretary General to building peace across Africa, Alice will one day advocate to world leaders, and the next will be found with the forgotten and oppressed. Now, as global president of Isoko Center for Humanity, Alice brings hope by sharing Rwanda's experience in healing and reconciliation. Alice, you embody the spirit of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, compassionate and fearless. Congratulations, my dear friend.
Thank you very much. And I am humbled to accept the Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg Human Rights Award from Women Magazine. And this honor belongs not just to me, but to women working for human rights and peace building who I know are watching this and are waiting to see and hear from this room. It is for every voice that was silenced but spoke anyway. It is for local communities, those my parents taught me to serve. Born and raised in Kenya, in a society rich in diversity, yet marked, like so many, by divisions of identity, I learned early that human rights, conflict prevention, and peace building can and must coexist. That conviction guided me from the classrooms where I taught human rights to the conflict zones where I mediated between divided communities, seeing clearly the transformative power of education. It guided me over a decade ago when we founded the Uyano Platform for Peace, linking early warning to early response through mobile technology for people who knew they would be attacked and had no one to tell. As a mediator and the only woman in the room, I remember the 16 months leading to the Nakuru County Peace Accord in Kenya, where 100 elders led 10 ethnic communities to declare we will never fight again. I remember too, in Nigeria, leading the mediation of 29 and then 56 ethnic communities to signed declarations, proof that when communities own their peace, it endures. We, the women, are mediators. We are peace builders and moral anchors in the pursuit of justice. As United Nations Under-Secretary General and Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide, I sought to make prevention not a distance policy, but a fixed reality. The first policy framework developed under my leadership is titled Combating Holocaust and Genocide Denial, Protecting Survivors, Preserving Memory, and Promoting Prevention. And we produced it together with Jacob Blaustein Institute. It became the first United Nations document to recognize the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. We operationalize the UN strategy on hate speech and build bridges across continents because hate knows no borders and neither should our solidarity. So today, at the Aegis Trust Isoko Center for Humanity in Rwanda, we educate generations to take informed, compassionate action. Born from the work of the UK National Holocaust Center, which was established by the Smith family in 1995, James Smith, who just spoke, and his brother Stephen. Aegis also manages the Kigali Genocide Memorial, the final resting place for 250,000 victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. So in my life's journey, I have seen both the fragility and resilience of our shared humanity. And I am conscious of how much work ahead of us remains to be done. There are still people in this world who know they will be attacked and have no one to tell. We must stay committed to understanding how hatred towards any identity group forms and how we can stop it, even when we find ourselves standing alone in a room or standing alone, even in an organization. I'm grateful to Moment Magazine for carrying the dreams of Elie Wiesel and Leibel Fein and other survivors forward. I'm grateful to Nadine Epstein and Susan Borden and Sarah. They began to interview me long ago when I first joined this office. And I'm grateful to Eve Epstein, who introduced me to Moment Magazine. So for your support, I'm grateful. I'm also very grateful to my family for their never-ending love, to my husband, Benjamin Akwete, he's here today, to my son, Mark Nderitu, who is not here, my parents, and my 10 siblings. I'm very grateful. And most of all, I'm grateful to the memory of Justice Ginsburg, whose light continues to guide us, and to all who sacrificed to pave a path for us when there was no way. Thank you.
We'd like to welcome an endearing performer whom you've no doubt seen either on stage, in movies, and on TV, most recently in Only Murders in the Building. Please welcome award-winning actor Richard Kind, accompanied by Broadway coach and dear friend of Moment, Michael Levine.
Hello. Yes, this is the apartment of the famous actor David Kolowitz. Yeah, oh, no, this is Marlo the butler. May I ask who's calling, please? Ah, Miss Garbo. No, I'm sorry. Mr. Kolowitz cannot come to the phone right now. Pardon? What? Of course I can tell you why not. I'm very honored, truly, truly, truly honored. It's great to be in your company. Grandparents in New York who really made me or gave me the entree into theater. They would take me to Leonard Bernstein's Young People's Concerts. At that age, I thought my grandmother was best friends with Leonard Bernstein. We would go to that. My grandparents took me to every Broadway play. I mean, from Fiddler to Mame to Dolly to everything. But my grandfather took me to Bob and Ray, had a Broadway show called The Two and Only, took me to Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, took me to nightclubs to see comedians, and this is sort of where I am today. My dad had a jewelry store. He wanted me to go to law school and go to business school and then go into the store. My dad's best friend, and I encourage you to tell your children or grandchildren this. I was accepted to law school, and my dad's best friend, we were watching football on January, February, something like that. He said, try acting. It's where your heart is. Try it. Give it a year, 2 years, whatever, because when you're 40, if you never try it, you'll resent your wife and you'll resent your children. Now, I took his advice, and I had a modicum of talent, and I got better and better, and this is where I am today with a fairly successful career. I encourage you all to tell your children that, even if it's not from the heart. However, never tell them to go into showbiz. And I'm so honored tonight because my heart is in what Moment stands for, in the history that is the 50th anniversary. I'm so honored. I know Dana Bash, she told me all about this, this organization, which I really didn't know. I am so honored to get this award, truly. And I want to tell you that, and having come all this way and knowing that I got to go back, I have no regrets. I am truly touched to be here tonight and receive this award amongst all of you and amongst these honorees.
Our next award is the Robert S. Greenberger Journalism Award, which is being presented to Judy Woodruff, senior correspondent and former anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. Throughout her long and illustrious career, Judy's trustworthy journalism and commitment to civility have been a bulwark of American democracy, and we're deeply honored to give her Moment's Robert S. Greenberger Journalism Award. Turn your attention to the screens now, where you will hear from journalist Scott Greenberger, who is executive director of Stateline, to tell us about his dad and about the award that's named in his honor.
My father was a great journalist who had a profound effect on everyone he came in contact with, from his colleagues to his family. He had an amazing career, traveling the world reporting for the Wall Street Journal. He loved his work, and he inspired me to become a journalist. When he retired, he wrote for Moment and helped Nadine create the Daniel Pearl Investigative Journalism Initiative in memory of his journal colleague, Daniel Pearl. That project sheds light on hate in its many forms and is even more important today than it was when we launched it 15 years ago, and I am honored to serve on its advisory board. 6 years ago, Moment established an annual award in my dad's honor to recognize journalists who pursue the truth and who ensure that all sides of his story are reported in a fair and civil manner, a key principle of journalism that, as we see today, is forgotten with peril. The award has been presented to Jake Tapper, Jane Mayer, Evan Osnos, Michelle Martin, Adam Serwer, Emily Bazelon, Ann Applebaum, and Dana Bash. This year, we are very pleased to be presenting the Robert S. Greenberger Award to Judy Woodruff.
Thank you, Scott. And before Judy accepts the award, keep your eye on the screens, because we're going to hear a special tribute to her from her fellow broadcast journalist, Andrea Mitchell.
Congratulations to Moment Magazine on your 50th anniversary, and best wishes to all your awardees. But let me say a few words about my very dear friend, Judy Woodruff, the preeminent broadcast journalist of her or any generation. Judy is truly one of a kind, a veteran journalist and author who first came to Washington as a White House correspondent to cover Jimmy Carter's presidency. And now, a half-century later, after anchoring on CNN and serving as anchor and managing editor of the NewsHour on PBS, is traveling all over our country, bringing her unique insights and deep political knowledge with her America at a Crossroads reports to the PBS NewsHour. Currently, Judy is the first broadcast journalist to be elected president of the prestigious Gridiron Club of Journalists. She has moderated presidential debates, she's interviewed U.S. presidents, other heads of state. She's a tireless advocate for the disabled community, for women in journalism, and for freedom of the press and the First Amendment. Judy has garnered too many awards to recount, but most importantly, she is a true friend. She's always there to support the rest of us when we are in need. I have relied on her, I've learned from her. I honor her peerless example of unbiased reporting. Congratulations, Judy, on this recognition tonight. You are so deserving.
I am just incredible. First of all, Andrea, I did not know until tonight that Andrea had done this video, so she's my dear, dear friend, and I'm very touched by that. But I have to say thank you. We've heard so many tributes tonight to Moment, to Nadine. I have to say again to Nadine, you are a force of nature. When I look at everything you've accomplished with the remarkable staff, the people around you, let's give Nadine another recognition for everything she's done. Thank you. And thank you, Robert Siegel, for being the significant and steady presence you are at this event, and for your distinguished career in public radio. Thank you. This award, in the name of Robert Greenberger, means so much to me. And before I say another word about this award, let me just again congratulate every one of tonight's winners. Every one of these individuals, you've met 3 of them, you're going to meet 2 more in just a moment. I'm in awe of what they have done and what they are doing, continue to do in their work and their lives. So I feel I'm in the presence of greatness tonight. Thank you to all of you who are also being recognized. But this award in the name of Bob Greenberger means so much to me, and for many reasons. First, because I was fortunate to know Bob for a long time as a friend, and to know him as a colleague of my husband, Al Hunt's. Al is sitting right here. They were colleagues at the Wall Street Journal. They were colleagues at the Wall Street Journal for almost 30 years. As Al has always said, Bob could be thrown into any story. Labor, I wrote this down, labor, the Supreme Court, politics, and most of all, foreign policy, where he traveled the world. He excelled wherever he went and whatever story he covered. Al has described him as indefatigable, remarkably respected, fair, a reporter's reporter. Not only that, Bob helped to found, as you heard just a moment ago from Scott, his son, Moment's Daniel Pearl Investigative Journalism Initiative, named, as I'm sure all of you know, after the Wall Street Journal reporter, Daniel Pearl, who was murdered by jihadist militants in Pakistan in 2002. At a time when journalism is under attack in this country, when news organizations and reporters are being sued, when press freedom is on the line every day, when respected news organizations are called fake, Bob Greenberger's career over more than 4 decades, from the time he joined the Journal in the 1960s until the 2000s, were a testament to the best kind of reporting, journalism that is thorough, that is deeply reported, that is fair, and that is trusted. It is what we need more of today and in the future, and I will say it again, and we've heard it tonight, than at any time before. We need it more now than ever. I'm also incredibly honored by this because I have such enormous respect for Bob's wife, widow Phyllis, who is here. Phyllis, please raise your hand. Where are you? I can't see because of the light. A dynamo in her own right, and their exceptionally accomplished sons. You heard from Scott, there's Eric, there's Peter, who my husband always reminds me got him into podcasting, which is now a central part of our lives. And you saw Scott, and I have to say, when Scott authored a biography, he's a journalist and a writer, and he authored a biography of President Chester Arthur. When he was asked why Chester Arthur, he said, lots of people have already chosen Lincoln. But through his remarkable family, Bob Greenberger left a legacy that endures. I'm also humble because of the other individuals, you've just heard their names of this award, going back to its creation in 2017. You heard who they are, and we're going to hear from Dana in just a few moments. They are literally the best of the best. And of course, I'm deeply honored because this recognition is from Moment. I am not Jewish, I do not write for Moment, but this evening, in the quiet of this room, to think about what Moment has achieved in its 50 years, what it represents, reminds us of what matters in our country at this very, very, very difficult time that we are living through. And Moment, through every issue, through every one of its projects, has shone a light on the things, on the values that matter to all of us. For 50 years, it has brought ideas to light. It has asked the hardest questions. It's raised the toughest issues that affect American Jews and that, in fact, affect all of us. It's welcomed a diversity of voices as it sought to illuminate the Jewish experience. In so doing, it has shown us that hate, once it's allowed to fester in any corner of the world, can grow in every other part of the world. It is still, sadly, with us today. And Moment continues to show the way to stand up to hate, to instead bring light into the world. So Moment, congratulations, and I am deeply, deeply honored. Thank you.
Tonight, we're presenting Moment's L'Dor Vador Award to Marion Ein Lewin. Marion is a survivor of the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp who is featured alongside her brother Stephen in the book Inseparable, the Hess twins' Holocaust journey through Bergen-Belsen to America. The name of this award, L'Dor Vador, means from generation to generation in Hebrew. And it's the perfect tribute to Marion's commitment to sharing her story with future generations. Please turn your attention now to the screens for this special tribute from her son, Mark Ein.
Good evening. My name is Mark Ein, and the greatest honor of my life is being Marion Ein Lewin's son. Thank you so much for honoring my mother at your 50th anniversary gala night with the inaugural L'Dor Vador Award. L'Dor Vador, of course, means from generation to generation in Hebrew, and so this honor is the perfect tribute for someone who's tirelessly committed to sharing her Holocaust survival story for today's and for future generations. A story that is not just a powerful reminder that we cannot let history repeat itself, but her story is also a story of resilience and hope, that even after surviving humanity's darkest days, a beautiful soul can emerge who brings light, joy, and inspiration to everyone that she touches. I can't tell you how much receiving this award, particularly coming from this organization, has meant to my mom. We've talked about it many times, and it's a deeply personal connection for her. There are many reasons, including her personal relationships with your leadership, but at some level, I think it is also grounded in your name, Moment, because my mom knows better than anyone how precarious life is and that we must savor every moment, living, learning, and loving every possible moment. Of the endless profound life lessons I have been blessed to learn from my mom, this is perhaps the most important one. And with this honor and recognition, I am deeply grateful that so many others will be touched by this extraordinary woman I am blessed to call Mom.
Well, at first, I have to start is I usually don't stumble on a stage. But when Nadine told me about this award, of course, I was very honored. But then I said, I have a family wedding in South Carolina the night before, and I'm just worried about getting here. And she said, don't do the horror too much because you may fall. So here I am. I did fall, not doing the horror, but getting an Uber to be in time for my flight early the next morning. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, my goodness, Mark, a total surprise, but an amazing son. But I feel that I can end my remarks right here because he's always so eloquent and so meaningful. In any case, I'm so pleased and honored to be here this evening for the 50th anniversary of the founding of Moment magazine, a truly inspirational journal and organization that amplifies leadership and excellence on a daily basis on issues that matter most to us these days: peace in the Middle East, the future course of Israel as a Jewish majority democracy, the solution to the Gaza conflict, the spread of hate and anti-Semitism in America and around the globe,
and the future of the Jewish community in the United States and throughout the world. Since the Moment was founded in 1975 by Nobel Prize laureate and Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel and Leonard Fein, it has earned the respect and track record for keeping these issues vibrant and imperative, as its founders would have wished. No other publication covers such a wide breadth of issues or comprehensiveness. I especially want to thank Nadine Epstein, an inspiring force and mentor in my life, as she is to so many other people. The staff at Moment Magazine is a virtual beehive of activity and commitment, as well as grace and forbearance in cajoling speakers, authors, presenters, to keep the wheels of progress moving on a breathtaking, busy workload and agenda. The Jewish tumult that Elie Wiesel referred to in his original mission statement has mushroomed into calamities and shockwaves in recent years that have, that have added an extraordinary challenge for journalism. This evening, we celebrate Moment Magazine for meeting this challenge and for staying at the head of the pack with energy and vision. I wish to thank Nadine and Moment Magazine also for their ongoing cheerleading of Inseparable, a book about my family's incomprehensible and miraculous Holocaust journey. The book was written by an award-winning author and historian, Ferris Castle. One of the first presentations I made on the book was at a Moment-sponsored Zoom event with the esteemed Holocaust scholar, Michael Berenbaum. And this was the beginning of 40 other book events I've had around the country. There is another person here this evening who had to leave to catch a train, Patty Kenner, who I also want to give a shout out to, a great philanthropist and advocate of Jewish causes, whose spectacular largesse has made certain that students who hear about my story receive free copies of the book. This leads me to my closing thought. I've always felt somewhat intimidated and humbled by speaking about my Holocaust past. It is only in the last 10 years that I've even spoken publicly about this part of my life. Can you ever do honor and justice to the 6 million, including 1.5 million children who were murdered? How can I stop the growing trend of Holocaust denial and distortion? How can I talk about my history in ways that will inspire people to learn the lessons of history and impress upon them never to be indifferent to evil and injustice? In the end, that honor goes not to me, but to institutions like Moment that keep the flame of building a better world alive. This evening, I feel blessed to be a small spark within your larger firmament of great accomplishment. Thank you.
Our final award of the evening is Moment's 2025 Inspirational Leadership Award, and we're presenting it to Elisha Wiesel, who's chairman of the Elie Wiesel Foundation for Humanity and former chief information officer at Goldman Sachs. Elisha has emerged as a courageous leader in the Jewish world, stepping up to speak forthrightly and passionately against the scourge of anti-Semitism, and we are profoundly honored to give him Moment's Inspirational Leadership Award. If you turn your attention to the screens, you'll see a special tribute from New York Congressman Ritchie Torres.
Hello, I'm Congressman Ritchie Torres. It's an honor to join all of you in celebrating the life and legacy of Elisha Wiesel with the Moment Inspirational Leadership Award. Elisha has carried forward his father's larger-than-life legacy with a moral authority and statesmanship that few can match. He has harnessed the power of his platform to speak out against the genocide of Uyghur Muslims and against the vicious and relentless campaign of lies and libels against both the Jewish people and the Jewish state. Fearless and forceful, Elisha is an oasis of moral clarity and courage in a world of widespread confusion and cowardice. There are many blessings for which all of us should be grateful. The moral leadership of Elisha Wiesel is surely one of them. And I, for one, am surely grateful. Congratulations on an honor richly deserved.
First of all, I have to thank by starting. Lynn and I are so grateful to Nadine and to Moment for all that you do. We're so grateful to have such dear friends with us at our table 23. What an amazing table. And to be co-honored with incredible friends like Rabbi Saperstein. Some of these people are just tremendous. Ms. Woodruff, we're really thrilled. So thank you very much. And Nadine, what you've really done with Moment is you have established an incredible Jewish literary tent for so many ideas to operate underneath. And I know something about the Jewish tent. I ran screaming from the Jewish tent in 1985, just after my bar mitzvah. My experience with the Jewish tent as I was growing up was, shh, we're davening, don't talk, and study the 10 Commandments. But it wasn't the 10 Commandments you're thinking of. It was the 10 Commandments of how to do what the cool kids were doing or how to dress like the cool kids were dressing. Those were my 10 Commandments that I remember from middle and junior high, and it was tough. Not only that, but of course there was Elie Wiesel this, Elie Wiesel that. I had a lot to run from. I hated the Upper East Side. My God, I hated the Upper East Side. I hated its wealth. I hated the fact that somehow I had privilege. I was guilty. I had, others did not. How did any of it make sense? I knew I was isolated in a bubble. I had no non-Jewish friends. Thank you, Jeannie and Chris, for being my token non-Jewish friends here tonight. But I knew that there were real problems brewing, and I was a frustrated young man. So what does a young man do? In 1986, he buys the Anarchist Cookbook. He starts to order some of the recipes that he sees online. And of course, my folks got that call from the FBI, the one you just don't want to get. It got worse. At Kol Nidre, after Kol Nidre, I remember screaming at my parents that I didn't want to be Jewish. I wanted to be Buddhist, Hindu, anything but Jewish. It was such a pain. I was going to be the X factor in all of their dreams for me. So I was really on my road to getting very, very far from the Jewish tent. I don't have time to tell you how I got from there to here, but I remember that kid. I love that kid. He was a miserable wreck, and he wanted to tear it all down. So some of that, I think, is normal with being a teenager, this desire to tear it all down. But you've got bad influences that can get to you. In my day, the big fear was that Jews for Jesus or the Hare Krishnas were going to get to you. That's what everybody was afraid of for a vulnerable youth like myself. Today, and I'm going to turn a little bit serious now, I think it's worse. I think that it's a little bit worse because the things that are out to get you, and this is terrible to say, but now I'm seeing Kahanechai posters start to appear on social media. For those who don't know what that is, Rabbi Kahana was an absolute racist within the Jewish world. My father detested him. And these are people that are celebrating when the small minority of extremist settlers in Yehuda v'Shomron go and do things like interfere with the olive harvest and commit violence against innocent Palestinians. That's what a Kahanechai poster is basically putting its rubber stamp of approval on. You also have groups, instead of J4J, Jews for Jesus, you have things like JVP, Jewish Voices for Peace, a nice sounding name, but of course carrying a very dangerous narrative that Israel is always to blame, that Israel is always evil, that gives no accountability to the Palestinians for what goes on in Israel, that basically resurrects the blood libel in a modern way and throws the word genocide at our 7.5 million brothers and sisters in Israel like it's nothing. There are serious threats. There are bad influences out there. We have serious leaders of major parts of the American Jewish community who slip into this mistake, accuse Israel of genocide and apartheid. There's a lot going wrong. We have serious congressmen who make that same mistake. What I want to tell you tonight is that this award that I'm taking, it's for every Jew that has found their way back to the tent. It's for every Jew that cares about their 7.5 million brothers and sisters in Israel and draw a red line and refuse to see them unfairly libeled. It's for every Jew who feels a responsibility for having made it back to the tent, determining to secure it from the storms that are raging around us. And most importantly, this award tonight, and I mean this, there are so many kids out there, young Jews, screaming words that they don't know what it means, they don't understand the historical context, accusing Israel of genocide, accusing Israel of apartheid, screaming these things. I'm holding this award for that next young Jew who finds their way back from that abyss. And I promise you, I will hold the award to them, I will give it to them. May it be soon. Thank you very much.
Elisha, thank you very much for that, and congratulations to all of Moments 2025 honorees. I'd now like to invite up to the stage last year's honoree, Dana Bash, along with some of Moments editors, as we toast 50 years of Moment.
Let's give them 1 second to get up here. Okay. All right, while they're getting up here, wow, where did you go? Where is he? That was over there. That was so well said. So well said. And as everyone gathering, I also want to say, Judy, I still want to be you when I grow up. Incredible. And congratulations to all of the honorees tonight. And I am really thrilled to be here. This is a big, big moment, a big night. 50 years. People are still gathering. 50 years, and I know how hard the journalists here all work. My mom is one of them, so I'm very well aware. And how much time and effort and care and feeding goes into all of the stories that you do. Oh, I'm gonna stretch because I'm gonna wait for my mom to come up. Come on. There we go. All right, so everybody, cheers to 50 years of Moment Magazine. L'chaim.
And I want to thank Robert, who every year, except for last year when he was honored, is our wonderful, grounded, erudite MC for the evening. And thank you so much for doing that. And also, you can read him in every issue of Moment because he writes. He's a great writer, and he writes a literary essay in every issue. Before we're going Michael, by the way, Michael Levine over there, I need to thank Michael Levine. Michael is a dear friend. You're going to meet Michael. And when I finish talking, Michael's going to sing. He's going to lead us on a sing-along because I always love closing the evening with music. And so he is going, and he's wonderful. But first, I just want to thank and congratulate all our awardees, all of you this year. We're so amazing, and thank you so much. I want to thank our gala chairs, Wolf Blitzer and Lynn Blitzer and Annie, Simone, and Toda. Thank you so much. I want to thank our board members. We have amazing sponsors here tonight, and we're so grateful for those sponsors, all of you. And I want to thank the team that this is a huge event, and we are a tiny staff. So I really have to thank Jody Blecker, Suzanne Borden, who's been working endlessly on this program, Eric Cash, Jojo Drake Kalin, Pat Lewis, Andrew Michaels, Janet Pitt, who's done so much, Debbie Sand, John O'Leary, Wally Podrazik, and our event manager, Jonna Raskin, who's done an amazing job. Our editorial staff pitched in, everybody pitches in. We could not do this event without all of you. And last but not least, I want to thank all of you for your continued support of Moment. Your support makes our work possible. And believe me, we're so grateful for it. So we are closing tonight's 50th anniversary celebration with some singing by the wonderful Michael Levine.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Nadine. I hope this is not just Michael Levine singing. I hope you will all sing along with me, please. I'm not exhorting you, I'm pleading with you to sing with me. I'd like, many of you know my mother, Eileen Levine, who's been the senior editor for Moment for many, many years, and she's won an award here when she was 89, and next month she turns 101. And I'd like to start with a song that that was written in the year she was born, 1924. So would you all join me? I think if I sing the first line, just repeat the first line, because the first line is, "It had to be you." Repeat that. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found the somebody who could make me be true, could make me be blue, and even be glad just to be sad thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, oh, you know it, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do, for nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. See if you know this. Bei mir bist du schön, please let me explain. Bei mir bist du schön means that you're grand. Bei mir bist du schön, again I'll explain. It means you're the fairest in the land. I could say Bella, Bella, even say wunderbar. Each language only helps me tell you how grand you are. I've tried to explain. Bei mir bist du schön, so kiss me and say you understand. I'm gonna go a little more current. Maybe you know this. Love will keep us together. Think of me, babe, whenever some sweet talking guy comes along, singing her song. Don't mess around, you just gotta be strong. Just stop, because I really love you. Stop, I'll be thinking of you. Look in your heart and let love live it together. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start to tremble in whenever you're around. Next time you're found with your feet on the ground, there's a lot to be learned, so look around. Just what makes that little old ant think he'll move that rubber tree plant?